Hi there, my name is Jonael Bosques. I'm with Sharon Gamble and Joe Walter in the camera. We're with University of Florida IFAS Extension. And today we're going to cover the topic on sheep and goat hoof trimming. We're going to do different things today for you. We're going to talk about immobilizing the animals. We're going to talk about hoof anatomy, diseases, and prevention. We're also going to touch on site-specific issues such as soil types and how those affect the hoof health on your herd.
And today we are at AAG Katahdin's, and they have provided the sheep for us to utilize for our demonstrations. Thank you.
When hoof trimming small ruminants, you're gonna need some tools. Some of these tools that we're gonna use today are gonna be baling twine, just 2 pieces of baling twine for immobilizing animals, just a regular fungicide, hoof rasp, your clippers, then you're gonna need a hoof pick with a brush so you can clean off the excess dirt before you start nipping. And then if you want gloves, you can use gloves for holding on to the animals a little safer.
Turn 60.
Yeah, you don't bend that much. Put that foot on in between your legs. There we go.
First thing you do, clean the hoof out, get all the manure off. And as we trim it, we come in here, trim the excess hoof material off, make it get clean, straight, level, both sides.
This is the first time he's had his feet trimmed, and he hasn't been handled a great deal.
Yeah, it's all right.
Which would be typical of most flocks.
Yeah. Easy fella.
When you're trimming the hoof, you want to be doing, if you don't have equipment, you can do a 2-person job like what we're doing here. The animal needs to be secure, so you need to provide enough balance for him. And that's why we catch the hoof in between our legs so he feels that he's secure. This is not his typical stance, that's why he's trying to fight us. But he's perfectly normal. This is not hurting him. This is just providing him with good animal husbandry practices.
And don't be afraid to trim this hoof material off. We're on? Okay. What you want to make, don't be afraid to trim the hoof, trim more material off. Remember that you want from heel to toe on the hoof to be parallel to the hairline at the top of the hoof. And you clean it in between the toes so that no manure or mud or debris will stay in there. Once you get it trimmed with the clippers, you can take a rasp.
Hey.
And kind of clean it up a little bit, make it nice and smooth so you don't have any rough edges and all that could get caught on something and split the hoof out. Remembering that you want that hoof to be flat so that all the tip of the toe, the middle of the hoof on the outside and this inside edge all match up and it's flat. I like to take my rasp and just do like this to make sure that I've got it. Now, all the time that while you're doing that, you're examining the interior of the hoof and make sure that you don't have any lacerations or abscesses, sore spots. All right. Okay, we're going to move on now to the right rear leg. And first thing we notice on this hoof is that the outer wall on the outside toe is curled over, so it's high time that it gets trimmed. This buck has a ram has never had his hooves trimmed yet, so he's pretty good shape for being, what, 10 months old?
Yes. They do walk in and out on concrete, some hard surfaces though, to help keep it worn down somewhat.
If the hoof, if you're having dry weather, the hoofs can tend to get dry and hard, and if it comes time to trim the hooves and they're too hard, you can apply some mineral oil, soak them up for a couple minutes before you attempt to trim them. It's very, very beneficial for the animal and for you to do that, because it's like carving a rock if you don't.
That's where you really appreciate having sharp nippers.
Yes,
absolutely.
If your nippers get rusty, they will be quite dull. You want to avoid getting them rusty. You need to have sharp nippers. And if they're not, you need to take and have them sharpened. It's a miserable job to try and work with nippers that aren't in good shape.
And what I'm measuring here is they're making sure that from the hairline to the heel, bottom of the heel of the hoof, and the hairline to the tip of the hoof or the toe are equal distance. I've got the toe a little bit long. Now sometimes you can have on your older animals, particularly if they haven't had the best hoof care in the world, is they'll actually get weak here, and the heel will wear off and you won't be able to get them level. It'll take some time to get that hoof back level. You can't take that much off the toe at one time. Make it nice and smooth, level.
good.
I think he's good.
Ready for roll.
Okay, are we on? Okay. This particular animal, the heel wore down quite a bit on her. She's an older animal, and in an attempt to get the toes and the hoof surface level, we got a little bit too far in. We nicked her a little, so she will bleed just a little bit, but that will stop in no time and should not give her any problems whatsoever. But things like that do happen.
Goes with the territory. This particular animal is heavy bred, and we'd really prefer not to put her on her backside and cradle her.
when you get to the heel of the hoof, and the inner hoof is not there, but the outer shell of the hoof is there, and it starts curling over. That curled over portion needs to be removed so that she can walk properly and that hoof will grow out properly.
No, go ahead and give her a little spray though, because you can.
All right, then we move on to the hind leg on it. All right, Jonah, if you can get focused in on this hoof, you see that the inner hoof wall is curled over on it, so it needs to be trimmed off. This will be trimmed off back to the line about here. And the outer hoof wall has been chipping off, which often happens. And we're going to come in and we're going to remove this portion first. Yeah, it already looks better. We're not actually taking any of this outer hoof wall off. We're just kind of getting rid of the stuff that's curled over, chipping off. Hoof problems, growth problems are somewhat genetic. You can have hooves that'll curl over on the outer hoof wall, will grow real fast and curl over and just cover the whole soft pad of the hoof. Of course, you don't want.
Is there any difference between hoof care for goats and sheep?
No, not that I'm really aware of any difference. They're very, very similar. You trim them the same, you treat them the same. They grow about at the same rate. So she's a little limpy from the nectar, but you see it's a long way from her. Got one more to do? Okay, what you want to do is bend the head back and push the right hip down. She's getting wise now. You want to leave him sitting on one side or the other, but not on the dock. I like to have something to lean against because I'm getting older. My back doesn't like this much anymore. Joe, you want to give me the clippers? Try to avoid coming and cutting straight off on the front of your hoof. That leads to separation. Huh? how long this one is.
Whoa.
I got it. Feels are pretty good here. A little bit of separation up here at the toe. Where you have separation, you need to open that up.
You did the 4 legs in less than 5 minutes. So that's how long it should take you once you are proficient in this. And this is the way one person can do this on their own. Alright, so now what we're going to show you is how to immobilize an animal. It's still a 2-person job, but it's safer on the animal. And this is a humane way, inexpensive way to immobilize, the animal for trimming or dosing or whatever you're going to do to the animal. Basically what I'm going to have in my hands to immobilize is 2 pieces of baling twine. You're still going to have to monitor the animal regularly to see that the baling twine is still in place. What we're going to do is that we're going to go around the barrel, put the baling twine on, yes, behind the shoulders, the front shoulders.
And you've already put a loop in the end of the one end of the baling twine.
Yes. As you can see, there's a loop
Okay.
On each of them. So we do the other twine in front of the legs. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna stretch these 2 pieces of twine. They're gonna cut the movement on those leg muscles, and the animal's gonna fall on the ground. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
There we go. Now when we got her going, what we need to do is tighten them with a quick release nut. That's it.
Okay, that halter can choke her, Joe.
Because the wool is on the way, I'm going to ask for Joe. Well, I'm going to hold it while you trim it.
This rope is loose, you can see it. Just that it's there, so if she pulls back on it, she knows that there's some restraint there. And so now it's very easy to get to the hooves.
I'm going to hold the back leg so she doesn't turn around. And that's it. See how safe the animal feels. She wouldn't be feeling safe, she would be kicking around. Just laying there resting.
And of course, whoever's doing the work on the animal feels a whole lot safer too. And you can do this without breaking a sweat, where if you're having to throw the animal by hand, it's a little more energy intensive.
Right on the back.
This method of immobilization, incidentally, is called casting. You can use it on small ruminants, or you can use it on a horse, or you can use it on a cow or steer, it works on all of you.
Because of the way that the animals grow, the feed and the genetics, sometimes you can have excessive hoof development. You know, we talked about soil type as well. This is the amount of growth that the hoof has got in excess. With improper care, all the whole hoof can migrate to one side, and that's what we're trying to prevent. If we don't treat that, then the hoof is going to keep on growing. When we're doing the hoof trimming, we want to check for foot scald or other lesions in the toes. So what hoof scald has got a pretty characteristic smell. It smells like rotten meat. So we check for scald by placing our finger in between the toes. This is a sensitive spot. They're kind of ticklish. And if we smell a foul odor, that's not, you know, dirt or feces. If we smell like a rotting meat odor, then that means that the animal has foot scald. Be as calm as possible. You don't want to do any movements, any sudden movements to distract her. She's pretty safe right now. She's feeling pretty safe. But you know, you wanna be as good as possible while working with the animal.
Tie an animal up like this where they can't really get away, you notice I keep checking the lead rope that I've got tied to the fence. Make sure it stays loose. You don't want that animal to get in there and start and choke down. You can certainly tell the difference that these animals have been out on the sand and not on any concrete.
With all the rain we've had recently, it's been wet, so their feet should be somewhat softer.
They are soft.
Yeah, they're much easier to cut when they're soft. When they're hard, they're very difficult to cut.
Yeah. We'll wait for another month or two here in Florida. In a dry, really dry season, these hooves will be much more difficult to control.
way, I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. I'm not putting any pressure on the animal. What I'm just doing is with my leg and my arm, I'm just keeping the animal balanced so she doesn't fight me, I guess. Yep.
Tendency for the inside toe, the outer hoof wall is curled out, so we have to trim that up so that it doesn't continue to grow out that direction and then get caught on something and actually peel the hoof wall away from the hoof. That's it. Now you reverse it.
Wait a minute.
Good.
Not yet. Okay, go ahead.
All right, to let the animal up now, Jonah's going to release both of those strings. And the animal will just get up off the ground like there was nothing happened to it.